As we look 12 months ahead, Mel.
Made their choice.
Well, wait a minute. Here's the Dolphins.
Defensive tackle, Mississippi.
Well, we had so much stuff going on that we want to get to the Dolphins pick first. And this is a very interesting selection by the Dolphins, who moved down in the trade with the Packers and took Tim Bowens, defensive lineman, a guy who you talked about this morning, moving up. Tim Bowens. Let's go to him right now. The Miami has just selected Tim Bowens, an interesting player, to say the very least, Mel.
Very much so. Back with the review last year in June, I said there were some comparisons already being drawn to a guy like Eric Swan because he was young. He played 2 years at the JUCO level. Didn't start until really the 4th game of this past season. Started 7 games in total. Still had 6.5 sacks, a ton of tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Was an impact player in the tough SEC. He's 320 pounds, 40 times of range, anywhere between 5'15" and 5'20". Not spectacular, but he's a big kid who can jam up the middle of the line. And like I said on numerous occasions the last few days, he has been a guy who has moved up from maybe the 2nd, 3rd round into the mid to late 1st round. So he has made a quantum leap in terms of what kind of contract he's going to sign once he gets it wrapped up.
Well, you call him the Eric Swan, perhaps, of this draft. And this is no medical problem at all because the teams have checked it out. But here's a young man that at a younger age lost 3 middle toes on his left foot because of a lawnmower accident. Has just 2 of the 5 toes, but obviously not a question, and all the teams that checked him out, that it's not an issue. And a lot of people had him rated better than Chester McLaughlin, coming out of the Raiders, took in the 1st round a couple of years ago. Let's go to Hank Goldberg, who always has his eyes on the pulse of the Dolphins. Surprised, Hank?
Not really. I was talking with Coach Shula this morning, and this name came up after a few people who he wanted and had a conviction on. He said that if those guys were gone, he would either trade down or perhaps go with an offensive lineman. But the Dolphins, he was very clear. The Dolphins need somebody who can either be a run stopper or an inside or outside rusher, and that's what they feel this young man can be. Remember, John Offerdahl is iffy. He's going to try and come back this June, and so that becomes even more important to get somebody to plug up that middle. And I guess he better protect all his toes because it's natural grass down there.
All right, Hank, thank you. Joe, you look back a few years ago, the Dolphins went defensive line at 88 with Eric Kummerow, 87 with John Boza, didn't have any luck. Bowens, this is a large individual, about the biggest player I could think of Shula had up there.
I think you look at histories quite often of players in different teams. I think a history here is they have not had success in the defensive line. Bowens, to me, is a stretch. He has a wealth of talent. I don't doubt that. My problem is you're getting a football player that in his entire career has had 30 practices. That's all. 30 practices. He's only played in 10 games. He really hasn't had the training, the seasoning, the discipline, and everything that goes with becoming a 1st-round pick, especially when you're looking at a draft like this where you've got to count on your guy coming in. I hope he makes it. I hope he has the ability that the Dolphins think he has. I think this is really, really a stretch for them.
Well, they have, some people thought they stretched a little bit when Marco Coleman, is he linebacker, is he defensive line? He certainly filled out very well with their 1st-round pick a couple years ago at defensive end. Now they get a larger one than Marco Coleman. When we return, the Lions are on the clock. Stay with us, please.